Good morning. My friends, today I have the obligation of performing my least favorite action that I must perform as a pastor, and that is the duty of sharing with you the financial statement of the parish. Trust me, I would much prefer to give a homily on this very beautiful gospel reading that we hear today, but it is my duty to share this with you, and so once a year I take one Sunday just to let you know about our financial situation. And the financial report is in the bulletin. It's an insert in it. You'll see on the front sheet the last fiscal year, our report on that, and on the back is the year before, so you can compare one year to the other. And actually, this year I come bearing good news. First, we were audited by the Archdiocese, which happens to parishes every 5 years, and it was an exhausting audit. They started in March and just finished 2 weeks ago. And they turned over every stone. They looked at every deposit, every check. I would get emails from the woman who was overseeing it. What was this check for? What is this deposit about? And everything. So they looked for everything possible to make sure that there was nothing wrong with our finances, with our spending, anything like that. And last week, when the woman who ran the audit sat down with Deacon John, our bookkeeper, and myself, she said to me, she goes, "Father, you can relax. This is an easy one." There was absolutely nothing whatsoever that they found that was awry in our spending. There was nothing that they questioned, you shouldn't be spending all that money on this or that or anything like that. No slap on the wrist for anything I was doing wrong. In fact, everything they had were merely recommendations for procedure. This should be recorded on that line. It would be better to do this way or that. So we passed the audit with flying colors. So that should reassure everybody that we're taking our fiscal responsibility here seriously and nothing is being frivolously spent here at St. Denis. So I'm grateful to you for your help with that, and I'm thankful that we got a clean bill of health that came from our audit. Secondly, the other piece of good news is that our financial situation is increasing. It's getting better. Last year, you may remember, I came to you and said, we really had to do something. In fact, one of the things we did was the increased offertory campaign. And you responded to that generously, and I'm grateful to you for that. In spite of the fact that the diocese dropped the ball on it. If you remember a year ago, there were different things that were mailed home, and one of the first things they mailed home, nobody understood what it was. It was a postcard that people said, what is this all about? It was very nondescript. And then they told me there was one Sunday I was supposed to talk to everybody at Mass and that they were going to receive a letter during the week, doubling up or reinforcing what I said to get people to make their commitment as to what they would give in the future. And it was supposed to receive that week, and they didn't send it out for another month. So that kind of messed up everything there. So in spite of all the confusion, you did come around. And you increased your giving, and I'm so grateful to you for doing that, because that has helped. Also, many people who agreed to use automated giving, with parish giving. That means that instead of using the envelopes and putting money in the collection every week, you have your gift to the parish automatically either deducted from a savings account or checking account or put on a credit card. And that helps us in several ways. First of all, that it gives us a steady income we can count on. It helps you that you don't have to worry about, oh, gee, I left my envelope at home, I ran out of checks, I don't have money in my pocket, whatever it may be. So you're able to make it a regular gift, and that helps us especially like when we have bad weather. Whenever, for example, in the wintertime we have snow on a Sunday, financially it just sacks us. Because while many people who use the envelope are good enough and will put both envelopes in the next week, the loose cash, very few people remember to double up the next week and give the money twice what they would have given, once for last week and one for this week. So we lose a lot of money that way. And of course, many of you know, especially if you have children who are involved in sports programs and things, while you're our parishioners here, sometimes you end up maybe having to go to the 5:30 at St. Cattery on Sunday night because you couldn't make the Sunday morning masses, and theirs is in English, whereas our 5 o'clock mass on Sunday is in Spanish. Or you go somewhere else, and so you end up putting the money in the collection there. And so we lose that. Or vacation time. People go away for the summer, and maybe they'll be very good and give their envelopes all in advance or when they come back. But using automated giving gives us a regular income, and you're supporting the parish whether you're here or away. And I also encourage everyone to switch over from the one we were using, EFT, to parish giving. And a couple of good reasons for that. Parish giving, the new online program I'm using, first of all, benefits us in that it gives a lot better charts and graphs to help us see what money is expected to come in, so we can see what we're anticipating to receive for this or that, knowing what's happening. Plus, it also helps you when it comes to the second collections. EFT, the company we've been using, while you can put the second collections on there, you have to actually go in each month and give the collection in the month in which that second collection takes place. If you do it at the beginning of the year, for example, for the year, they're going to take everything out in January, and you get hit with a big bill for all the second collections. Parish giving does it differently. When you sign up, you could set everything in January for the entire year, and the collection is only credited to your account in the month in which we take up that second collection. So if in January you set your gift to us for the Assumption, that wouldn't come out of your account until August, not all in January. And so I'm grateful to the people who switched over to automated giving. It also helps us with another expense, and that is the sending out of the envelopes. It costs us $6,000 a year just to mail the envelopes out to people. And of course, the less number of envelopes we have to send out, the cheaper it is. And so if you're on automated giving and still getting envelopes, give Mary Ellen a call, because then that's money we don't have to spend on that, and we can save money that way. So first of all, your increased giving was a generous gift to us. Secondly, we worked very hard to decrease our spending. And we decreased our spending last year by $182,580. Now, largely, most of that was due because the year before we had some major projects that we had to do up at the parish center, the boilers here in the church, and so we just had to spend the money on that, which we didn't have last year, so our outgoing expenses were a lot less. But we've also done other things just to try to save money here and there whenever possible. Everything from the little things that, when I shop online, I'll compare Amazon to Staples and see who's giving the best deal, buy in bulk when something's on sale, little things like that. But also others, such as one thing that during the audit I would have had my hand slapped for if I were doing it that way, was the diocese very much frowns upon having just two people take the money to the bank during the week. Here, of course, in Dutchess County, we're not a high crime area, so we might feel we could get away with it as opposed to some places in the city. But they very much would have said to me, no, you've got it, as happened in the past in my last parish. They said, no, you have to, I don't care how much it costs, you must hire an armored car company to come and take the money from the rectory to the bank every week. So I obediently did that, and we had Loomis coming to take the money every week, and it worked. However, we were paying $5,000 a year for Loomis to take the money to the bank, which is a big expense. And somebody on our security committee suggested to me, they said, Father, we have people here in the parish who are active or retired police enforcement or security. Maybe they'd volunteer. They have the right to carry a gun. Maybe they'd volunteer to take the money for us to the bank every week. This way, we still have an armed person bringing the money to the bank, but they're volunteering it. And so I floated that to the parish and thankfully got the volunteers to do it. I was able to fire Loomis, and now we have volunteers every week who take the money to the bank. And we've saved that $5,000. I'm grateful to them for sharing their time with us. So all sorts of little things we've been doing to try to cut costs here and there. We increased our revenue last year by $49,100, and we reduced our deficit by $86,746. Now that's the good news I have for you this morning. There is still a little bit of bad news, and that is that even our budget for this year is still budgeted to be running in deficit. And the extra money that we need to pay the bills, we're taking out of our savings account, which we really don't want to do. We want to leave that there and let it earn interest and just spend the interest on our bills. Thankfully, we have a good bit of money in the bank because some years back, several people gave major endowments to the parish in their will. And so the pastors at the time wisely took the money and put it in an account with the diocese where we get 4% interest on that. But if we keep using that year after year to pay our surplus, well, it'll disappear, and we certainly don't want to do that. So we want to be able to be running in the black and leave the savings account there so that we can live off the interest from that and only touch it if it's really an emergency. So, and obviously to do that, we need to increase our income. for this year. And how do we do that? Well, there's two things I'd like to recommend. One, which is always expected, is that asking everyone to increase their weekly gift to the parish. And in every parish, there are basically, we could divide people into 4 different categories as to how they give to the parish. One are people who have good income. The Lord has blessed them financially, and they know it, and they're grateful to God, and they respond generously by giving a good gift to the parish every week. And these people, and we have a good number of them here at St. Denis, are the ones who are largely sustaining the parish. And for those of you who are doing that, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for sharing your generosity back with us that God has given you. You could be very selfish and keep it to yourself, but no, you share it with us, and I'm grateful for that. A second group of people are people who would like to be like that. They really wish they could. They say to me, Father, if I won the lottery, I'd give half of it to the parish. And I believe them because they love their parish. They know how important it is for them to provide the funds that we need to keep the parish running. So we're here to meet your needs. But they're financially struggling and they're doing the best they can. And they say, Father, my gift may not be much, but it's the best I can do. And if my financial situation improves, I will improve even my gift. And when that happens, I tell people, don't worry. That's where the story of the widow's mite kicks in, which will be, ironically, next Sunday's gospel reading. But that even if your gift is small, if it's a true sacrifice for you to do so, then the Lord appreciates that. A third group of people probably don't give too much thought as to what they put in the envelope or in the basket when it comes around. You have not carefully thought out what would be an appropriate gift to give God back for what we receive, but just routinely throw a particular bill in, and the collection comes, so they open their wallet and just throw one particular bill in. And I'd like to ask everyone today, how do you decide what to put in the envelope or in the basket when it comes around, or on automated giving if you do it that way? Is your gift truly a prayerful response to what God has given you and saying, Lord, what is my proper gift back to you for everything you have given me? In the Old Testament, it was required. It was a tithe. And people were tithed and told they had to give 10%. The first 10% belonged to the Lord. So you gave the first fruits, the 10% to him with gratitude for what he'd given you so that you could keep the other 90% for yourself. And there are some religions that do that even to this day, such as the Mormons. The Mormons assess people 10% of their income, and they keep track of it. And if you have not given 10% of your income, you are forbidden to enter the Mormon temple in Salt Lake City. The Jehovah's Witnesses do the same thing. Well, the good news is I'm not asking you to give me 10% of your income. I don't need that much. If you gave 10% of your income, we'd have so much money, I don't know what I would do with it all. We'd be giving a lot of it to charity. So thankfully, I'm not asking you for 10% of your income. But I would ask you in your own conscience to pray before God and say, Lord, what is the proper percent of my income, whatever it be, 5%, whatever, that I should give to you? And let that be your gift back to God in gratitude for what he's given you. And say, Lord, this is part of my stewardship. I have a responsibility of taking care of my parish. And so let me make sure that I'm giving properly to do my duty to help the parish. And figure out a percentage. I'd ask you just to think in your mind right now what percentage you feel would be appropriate to give back to God. And then look at your finances and work that into your gift to the parish. And sometimes we might be a little surprised at what we're given. When we do it, we might realize, my gift is nowhere near where I thought it was. Just for one example, somebody who's making $50,000 a year, who puts $10 a week in the collection, probably would feel, hey, I'm doing my part. That's a pretty good gift. But if you do the math, you discover it's only 1% of your income. And somebody who's making $50,000 a year and only puts $5 a week in, that's 1/2 of 1%. Is God not worth more to us than just 1/2 or 1% of our income? Is that what we can honestly say to God? This is the best I can do to you, Lord, for you, Lord. So if you would prayerfully consider looking at your income and then giving whatever percentage you choose and making sure that's your gift to the parish so that the parish is here to meet your needs. Because that's what it's all about. You're not giving me personal money. We're not like TV evangelists who are using the money to drive in stretch limos and wear Rolex watches or anything like that. The money you're giving me, you're entrusting me to spend for you so that the programs that we should be providing you, we're able to provide. But sometimes people just want to know the bottom line and say, Father, it's too much work for me to start doing math. What's the get to the bottom of it, How much more do you want from me each week? Well, having talked with the Finance Committee, the recommendation we're asking is if every family could just give $5 a week more than what you're currently giving. And that's not a lot of money. That's one grande coffee at Starbucks. So for most, if not all of our families, $5 should be very possible. Just $5 more a week. If we did that, we would increase our income by $50,000 annually. That's a lot, just by $5 in the collection. So if you could consider that. Then there's a fourth group of people that I know we don't have anybody like that here in St. Denis, but other parishes do have them. And those are people that, for whatever their reason, exempt from themselves from giving into the collection. They don't think they have any responsibility to support their parish. Oh, everybody else does. They have to pick up to it, but not me. I'm exempt for some reason. And they come up with all sorts of different stories and excuses, and they're so lame, and they're so ridiculous. And I could write a book on all the things I've heard over the years. Let me share with you just one story that I remember my father telling me when I was young of a man in our home parish that told him that he refuses to give any money into the parish until the pastor sells those solid gold candlesticks that the altar servers are carrying. And my father said to him right away, solid gold? Do you know how heavy those things would be if they were solid gold? Do you think any kid would be able to lift them? And don't you think somebody would have stolen them in a moment? He goes, they're not solid gold. And I was an altar server there. I knew what they were, hollow brass. And maybe when they were purchased at the time, they spent $50 for the pair. Maybe that much money. But that man insisted or convinced himself that those hollow brass candlesticks that the kids were carrying were actually solid gold and decided he didn't need to support the parish because the pastor was being frivolous. How silly. How childish. And it's certainly not responsible stewardship before the Lord. And ironically, it's usually the people who give little or nothing to the parish who complain the most if you have to cut back services. You say, we can't do that anymore because we can't afford it. And they start complaining, oh, all the church cares about is money. Again, childish. And I know we have nobody like that here at St. Denis. You're all wonderful. But other parishes do have people like that. So, first, I would ask you if you could look at increasing your gift, either making giving yourself a percentage and offer that regularly in the collection, and then if your income increases, increase your gift to us. And then this way, our income increases regularly with that. Or on a very basic thing, just giving $5 a week, every family, that would be a tremendous help. And the second is something of recouping money that you're already spending that we could use for ourselves here at St. Denis. Now, we all know the economy is terrible and it costs you so much more to buy the groceries and things when you go shopping. And I'm well aware of that, especially when I shop with my parents every week. And I see how much more it's costing them for 3 people just to put food on the table, and I'm aghast at the cost of things. And they're on a fixed income, so if they can't afford it, then I have to cover it from my own wallet, and I pay the extra for them. So I'm well aware that we have to try to do our best to cut back and live with the things that that are best for us. Maybe even say, well, maybe I'll buy the generic brand instead of the name brand for one thing or another and save a few dollars here or there. But no matter how bad the economy is, we all do need to buy groceries. We have to put food on the table and the other things that we need, and we still go shopping because we have to. Now, wouldn't it be wonderful? Imagine this. Suppose you were to go to one of the supermarkets here, Acme, Stop and Shop, ShopRite, whichever one you choose, and you go and you check out. And once you pay the bill, you say to the cashier, okay, now, for the money that I just gave you, would you please take 5% of that and send it up to St. Denis Church? And they said to you, of course, sure. Wouldn't that be great? Well, believe it or not, my friends, we can do that. we have the ability to recoup 5% of what you're spending in the supermarket. Instead of 100% of it going to the supermarket, 95 will go to them, and 5% comes to us. And it's a very easy way to do it. All you have to do is buy gift cards from the supermarkets from us. And I have one of them here. We have them for the 3 major supermarkets here, Acme, ShopRite, and Stop & Shop. And we have them in $50 and $100 denominations. And they never expire, and you don't have to use the whole thing at the same time. So if you go shopping one day, you have a $100 card, and you only spend $80, well, the other $20 remains for the next time you're shopping. And they can be used in any supermarket of that name across the country. It doesn't have to be only the ones here in town. So you go to a ShopRite or a Stop & Shop anywhere. And the Acme cards, Acme is part of the Albertson food chain, and there's about a dozen different food stores all across the country that are part of that. You can use it in any one of those, and they're all listed on the front of the card. How does it work? The supermarkets sell the cards to us because we're a charity. They sell them to us at a 5% discount. So we get a $100 gift card, we only pay $95 for it. You buy it from us at the face value, give us the $100 for it, and when you go shopping, it's the same $100, only instead of giving it to the cashier there, you're giving us the $100 and giving them the gift card, and we've made 5% on you buying that card. And this could really be the answer that we need. I know a lot of you buy a lot of food every week and everything. Just think of how much 5% of the money that you spend there would be coming back to us. They also make great gifts. If at Christmas time, maybe you have people on your list that just say, what am I going to buy them? They don't really need anything. Just come and buy a gift card from us. And now you're giving them groceries and supporting St. Denis at the same time. And we've made it as easy as we possibly can for you to get the cards. They'll always be available whenever the rectory office is open, Monday through Friday, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And also, our lovely Pam Filippone over here, one of our parishioners, has volunteered to make sure that every Sunday and Saturday night Mass, there will be volunteers downstairs in the youth center who will sell you the cards. And that will happen every single Sunday. And she will be down there today. I know some of you maybe were not prepared for that. Maybe you didn't bring your checkbook or enough cash for your shopping. But if you do and you'd like to buy them today, by all means, please come down and do so. But every Sunday, there will be somebody down there that can sell you these gift cards, and you can be supporting St. Denis just by giving 5% of what you're spending in the supermarket back to us. So, I thank you for your time this morning. I know I spent a bit of your time, but it is important. But our situation is improving. We're moving in the right direction. Let's keep it going. And if we can increase our gift by only $5 a family and start using our supermarket gift cards, then hopefully by this time next year, I'll be able to tell you, folks, we did it. We're running in the black. So thank you for your time today. God bless you all.